With language, everyone lives in a private universe. Without language, we all belong to the common tongue, existence. Meditation is to drop out of the private linguistic world, the world formed by words, verbal concepts, constructs. Meditation, turning within, focusing upon your breath, thus altering your vibrational consciousness, your brainwave states. Meditation is to drop out of this private linguistic world that each of us has as our own point of reference to reality. Meditation is to enter the non-verbal existence of the Atman. Living in a verbal world will not take you to the Atman. Do not live in a verbal world. Move deeply into existence itself, the level of the non-verbal, the level of consciousness, unadulterated, the level of Atman. Through meditation, you establish the beginning links with your silver cord, or your Hara Line, Hara Line. Through meditation, Hara is a Japanese word. It means your belly, your visceral awareness, your visceral connection to consciousness. Your silver cord is established, and I'm talking about the silver cord that connects your consciousness, which is your soul, and ultimately your spirit, your silver cord, which connects you to this genetic vehicle. If you do not have that established, you don't have that consciousness in your Hara Line, you will not have connection to the Atman. What you will have is the dominion of the ego. You will have the dominion of the ego over your divine self, your Atman. You will have narcissism. You will have lower feelings and thoughts, possessions. You will be demonically possessed. You will be more susceptible to astral attachments, 3D manipulation, false propaganda, relationship traumas, sexual traumas. And the list goes on and on of the trap, the prison matrix of being trapped within this body. If you have not established, have not built your silver cord consciousness or your Hara Line, the dominion of the ego over the Atman is your reality. It is not my reality. There are many among us who simply do not know how to start building the connection to our Atman, to your soul. And that is what the express purpose of the Umbanda New Earth Ashram is all about. All of us in this age, we cannot rely on external institutions to bring us to this connection, to this knowledge, to this gnosis of the Atman. We are initiating ourselves. That is why you see sprung up from the land, from all over, grassroots people, all these self-styled gurus, all these self-styled ascended masters with their passion to share, because it is more than a passion. It is a mission. As an indigo starseed, I know that is my mission. And yes, I perhaps suffer. I'm a type 3 indigo. I most likely, I'm pretty sure I do have Asperger's syndrome. I was kind of, when I was in the active duty Army, I had a psychiatrist let me know that I was an Asperger's person. So sometimes I come off as an asshole. I'm very pugnacious, combative, but that is the personality filter that I deal with. That is not my Atman. That is not my eternal self. But on this conscious journey, inner work, especially soul retrieval and detaching from all of the previous trauma, all of that is a journey of going within. It is a journey beyond language. And it is vital to be able to restore our connection to the Atman, to your soul, to your own self-autonomous, self-sovereign. Do not get caught up on words. This Atman is one word that I have resonated with. And interestingly, the word Atman, it does typically, the more common parlance is known as the self, the eternal self. It is also the Sanskrit, the Hindu word for breath, your breath. An interesting connection, as the name for God in the Old Testament, Yahweh, literally means to breathe, the sound of breathing. That is where it came from. All of this knowledge is very deep and very related throughout the world. Atman means breath, your breath, which is essential. What is meditation? It is an essential component of meditation, especially with pranayama. But this knowledge, this perennial knowledge, this spiritual knowledge, this spiritual technology is what is being revived. Knowledge is power. Divine knowledge is ultimate power. Divine knowledge is royal power. And this is precisely what we are retrieving at this time, and why the other polarity is feeling confronted. The dark ones, the ones who have been the controllers of consciousness. Where we put our focus, attention, and intention is vital. The eyes are our soul portals as well. Where you place your attention, where you place your eyes, where you place your focus, that is what you become. If you turn within, you become eternal. You access your royal power. But do not allow any non-benevolent input through any outside agencies, through any programming, through any of the programming of the organized religion control freaks. Do not allow any of this negative relationships to come between you and your soul. Many people understand love through their ego rather than from a soul level, and that is what the Atman will lead you to. But with the solar CMEs, the massive solar energies that are coming, this earth is being cleansed through fire, water, and earthquakes and volcanoes. This transition, this great world transition is taking up. And let me tell you, those who are not in touch with their inside eternal aspect, those not firmly ensconced with their royal power, those firmly not convinced, living in gnosis of the reality of the Atman, the world for those, the world, when it bifurcates, the world will go into a frenzy of confusion, and many shall destroy themselves. So declutter your mindset, change your focus. Something new, something great, something fresh, something eternal. The new Jerusalem is coming to this reality, to this dimensional reality. And what is it that's holding you back? Your mental processes, your logic, your rationale. Think about that. What is it that's keeping you from your eternal self? Thank you. What if everything you thought you knew about science and its connection to spirituality was wrong? What if you woke up one day to discover that the entire nature and structure of the universe had actually eluded all of mainstream science, all of the academic experts up until that moment of your realization? How confident do you feel in the idea that atoms are made up of particles? Atoms are in fact 99.9% empty. Are you aware that even the most basic quantum physics is littered with solid experimental findings that totally defeat this idea, and have heretofore defied all attempts at explanation that the entire quantum realm of atoms and molecules can be built up from electromagnetic fields displaying simple properties of movement and geometry? When someone mentions higher dimensions, how much do you truly understand about what they are, where they are, and how they work? Do you have any idea about how they can intersect with our own reality? Have you ever studied chaos theory and fractals? Did you know that scientists have proven that apparently random or chaotic events, both in space and in time, are being organized by complex geometric patterns known as fractals? that the behavior of both weather processes and living creatures, including human beings, can be mapped by these fractals, that the fractals themselves can only be constructed by blending our typical positive and negative numbers with an axis of numbers that is imaginary or outside of our perceivable mathematical reality. Has anyone truly explained why or how these principles are occurring? When you see the reports of UFO sightings, are you puzzled as to how anything could defy gravity and make such sudden movements without destroying any living being inside? Do you discount the possibility that they could have visited us because of a belief that no mass can exceed the velocity of the speed of light, that mass cannot exceed the constant speed of light? Was it a natural mistake for Einstein to assume that light couldn't travel faster than the constant it was believed to be traveling through, total empty space free of any type of energy? Is there a tangible energy in space? If there is a tangible energy in space, then what would happen if light traveled through an area of thinner energy, vibrating at a higher frequency than the thickness of the energy that now surrounds us? Do you remember reading about experiments in 2000 that have demonstrated velocities up to 300 times faster than the speed of light? Do you believe that we have to burn something to get energy? Have you ever heard of or given any consideration to the idea that limitless free energy can be harnessed from empty space? Are you aware that simply rotating a magnetic gyroscope can create free energy and anti-gravity effects at the same time? Did you believe the mainstream media when the science of cold fusion was laughed at because it violated the laws of chemistry and physics? Are you aware that literally thousands of documented experiments are on record that have proven this effect since its discovery in the late 1980s? Have you ever studied sacred geometry? Are you aware that the bodies of all living creatures must grow by these proportions? Did you know that these geometries are harmonic, meaning that they have all the same mathematical and vibrational properties as music and color? Could it be possible that this unseen harmonic energy is structuring all of physical space, including the spacings of the stars and planets, and even the precise arrangement of continents on planet Earth? Might these same forces also exist in time, exerting a powerful effect on the behavior of human beings that can be concretely mapped out in the movement of financial markets? If you know something about quantum physics, are you aware that the previously undiscovered blueprints of this same harmonic geometry can be revealed in Planck's constant, the electromagnetic wave, the fine structure constant, the ratio of weak to strong force, the photon, the electron, valence bonds, isotopes, and more? That the atom can be built up entirely as a particle-free grouping of geometrically structured energy? That things such as the spin of quarks and electrons are actually showing us that these energies are traveling through a geometric matrix that underlies and forms all of our physical existence. That this geometry of space might explain the mysterious property known as torsion, which means that particles traveling through empty space are forced to rotate as they travel. Think about that. Answer those questions on your own time, please. Hit the subscribe button. Leave this video a thumbs up. Do you believe that there was a Big Bang, that nothing could explode to create the universe? Are you aware that this theory is on its last legs, propped up with an ever-increasing number of excuses and assumptions, and ready to collapse? Did you ever hear of the solid scientific evidence that can prove that the entire universe looks exactly like a gigantic galaxy, complete with spiraling arms composed of galactic superclusters with very little in between them? If the entire universe has one fixed axis of rotation that can be calculated and measured, what does this do to the relativity theory? Would this not be as important a discovery as seeing the sun at the center of the solar system, since Einstein's relativity theory asserts that all motion is relative and there is no stable fixed place in the universe to measure motion from? What would this do to our ideas of time as well, since time is also believed to be relative by the same logic? On a much more personal level, do you believe that every thought and influence in your mind is solely being created from within your own mind? Have you ever considered the idea that your consciousness is constantly being affected by forces outside of your own mind, body, and physical surroundings? Are you ready to survey the solid, factual information that will show you possibly for the first time that not all of your thoughts and actions are being dictated solely by your own conscious mind? That unseen cosmic forces can influence your state of mind quite directly. That these forces actually have precise geometric structures that have been mapped and analyzed, and whose effects can be predicted well in advance. Do you believe that through philosophies and theories such as Laplace's logical positivism, that science has proven that God does not exist? Do you really believe that? Are you prepared to view a concrete scientific case that an ultimate conscious being does exist after all? If you are prepared to view this concrete scientific information in the days ahead and further information dissemination broadcasts from the Om Banda New Earth Ashram, please hit the subscribe button and leave this video a thumbs up, as it indicates to the algorithm that God does exist, and so does the Atman. Because Atman, your I am presence, is God. Consciousness is God. The Atman is eternal. The Atman is you, your eternal self. The Atman is all. Namaste. Namaskaram.